Hi, this is Owen and this is my screencast for my portion of CA2. I'm just going to be going through the parts that I contributed. So I'm just going to show you the makefile. So this is just the makefile just with my stuff in it. So for section 1 I handle tasks 1 and 2. So task 1 is just checking to getting a string and then counting the number of words in it. So echo to create the string and then wc dash w to count the words specifically. Sorry, to count the words. Uh, that's done by the dash w tag. So I'm having an issue with the makefile, so I'm just gonna show you by copying and pasting, which isn't great. But there you go. So it counts the 9 words. So then I'm just going to show you the second task. So echo to create the string, and then tr will truncate it from lowercase to uppercase. So we're just going to grab this, and there it is. Now the computer is shouting at us, which is what we wanted. Um, Now the first more sizable task that I took on was the task 2 of section 2. So I used grep here. Grep is great for finding patterns within files and things like that. So uh, just so this particular task was about getting the G value in RBG values, which could sometimes have alpha values. So the way this was done here was, if I could just get my, there we go. He's just gonna zoom over here. Okay, so this fella here, he's going to signify the start of the line. Then we got the hash because we know every one of these RGB values should have a hash in it. Then we know these are going to be either letters from A to F, nothing more than that. No, sorry, nothing more than that. So like no G's, no H's because it's an RGB value, or it could be a number or rather a digit between 0 and 9. And we know there's going to be at least 6 of them. So we're going to look for 6 of them. But then we're also going to check and see if there's another 2, because some of them have alpha values, in which case there'll be an additional 2 numbers. And the way it checks, it was not conditional, but rather the question mark here means that if it is there, it's great. But if it's not there, it doesn't freak out. It still thinks it's okay. And then these dollar signs are just signifying the end of the line. So we're just feeding this into colors.txt, i.e. the file that we're checking. However, this is just going to give us the full RGB value, which is not what we're looking for. So we're gonna. I feel like there's probably a better way to do this, but this is the way that I could wrap my head around it. So I'm just kind of. I find that egrep was really easy for finding stuff at the start of lines, at the end of lines, but it was slightly more confusing when finding stuff in the middle. So at this stage, I wasn't really sure about how to approach that. So what I did was I just kept chopping things off until I got to the bit that I wanted. So with egrep dash O, what it's going to do, instead of giving me the full line, it's going to give me more specifically what I want out of the line. So here we're saying, hey, could you go find me the dash at the start? Well, not necessarily the start because we don't have the character for the start in, but the dash is at the start. So it's going to find the dash at the start, and then it's going to check for for either digits or letters. So that's going to be your dash and then the R and G values, and then we're going to pipe another command into this because now we know that what we have at this stage, the G value is on the other end. Is on the back end of it, i.e., it's at the end of the line, which means that we can use the dollar signs to go find it. So we're going to pipe that into another egrep dash and O because again we're going to take we only want the bit we're looking for, and it's going to give us the G value. So I'm just going to go and take this and run it for you now. And there you go. So it just shoots out all the G values there. Now, for section 3, um, it was just asking us to shoot out the last 10 lines of the access.log file. Um, so I went looking through the commands and found tail. So tail by default, without any additional messing with it, it just shoots out the last 10 um, lines of a file. So I'm just going to show you that quick. So just pop it in here, and there you go. So there's the last 10 lines of the access.log file. There we go. Make file again. Have we look. Now the third one. The third task in section 3 I also did. So this is when you are trying to get the requests that have, just the request section, that sorry, just the request section that have that have 404s. So initially this seemed okay, so I just looked for stuff for 404, but some of the 404s in the lines aren't actually the codes. They're part of like either the IP addresses or something else. So that's not great. So initially, egrep 404 didn't really it returned most of what I wanted, but also some stuff I didn't want. So I took that, and then I dash o because again the question wasn't looking for the whole line; it was looking more specifically the request section of the line. Um, and then by feeding it a phrase that started with get, it wasn't going to take in the ones at the start that the fours that 404s that may occur at the start of the line, or elsewhere in the line. So it's looking more specifically within a certain space. So the get is the start of that request section. Um, so got the get here, then we've got the slash, then it's going to check for some letters for whatever you're going to write, and it's got up to 20 of them just to have kind of a safe kind of ballpark value. Some of the requests had like dashes or periods in them. So these were the backslash here, because the dot is like a special character because in regex, so the backslash just makes it friendly, and takes away its kind of like special value. So in the same way we were using the question mark to check see if stuff was saying, hey, if there's a thing here, that's okay. If there's not, that's also okay. So we're checking here, is there a full stop? If not, that's fine. But if there is, don't freak out. And we're doing the same with the dash here. And then we're checking for any letters after it, and then another dot just in case, and then any more letters. And then this is how the requests end. And obviously we're looking for our 404. So the 404 here means that it's looking for the 404, but in this specific context, instead of if there's a 404 at the start of the line as well, so we'll put that in. And actually I'll just show you that working now. Then we'll get on to the last one that I did. Okay, so there it is. Now it's just giving us the 404 values, so not the 200s or anything like that, and it's not giving us the 404 that's in the access logs that's at the start. Alright, so finally, last one. So for this one, it's getting the requests that took longer 5 milliseconds. God, not 5 seconds. 5 milliseconds or longer, in the access.log. So the way this is done was, if you go to, where did I go? Here I am. egrep again makes an appearance here. So we know that before the before the amount of time that it takes, there's going to be like the code, so the 404 or the 200. So those are both 3-digit numbers. So it's going to go, hey, you're going to look. This pattern's going to start with three numbers, and it's going to up to three numbers rather. And then after that, there's going to be a space, and then for checking to see if there was 5 or more, the way I did it here was, so it's either going to be 2 digits, i.e. it's going to be 10 or higher, or it's going to be between 5 and 9. So what this does is that it's just a simple OR, so it's either going to be this, it's either going to have 2 digits, or it's going to be 1 digit, but it's going to be a 5 to a 9. So that's good, but it doesn't pipe in the whole rest of it. So the second egrep here was just to deal with like all it's the kind of the same egrep as you have above here. So it's looking, because this section is still asking for the request part. So but it's a little bit less choosy. So it doesn't check, for example, for 404. The next part of the question there is asking to give instances of how many times this request shows up. So the way I was going to do that was by using unique -c, which tells you how many instances you've got. However, initially when I was doing this, it was just showing. It gave me like two of an instance, then three of another one, and then another one of of the same instance from before. And I didn't understand why. It's because I wasn't sorting. But now when I run it all together, it should be okay. So here it's set. So there's five instances of this, and there's three of that. Um, Now this was not the entire question. The other parts of the question that I had difficulty with were the part where it was working with give the average, give the fastest and the slowest. I couldn't get that working myself, but that is the section of the question that I could complete. Um, that sums up my contribution to the assignment. So I did tasks 1 and 2 in section 1, task 2 in section 2. I did tasks 1, 3, and 5 in section 3. Although for 5 I didn't fully complete it. I got it as far as I could, as I could then, but I failed to complete it. Um, yeah, and sorry for the strange presentation. I was just having some issues getting the actual make files working in Git Bash. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks.